episode of the Sipping and Tripping podcast, where we connect with amazing people. Today's topic is interracial relationships. I am your host, Desmond Black, and the person that's sipping and tripping with me today is a screenwriter, a director, and a producer. He is a father, a Black nationalist, and a well-respected man. He is a returning guest. He is none other than Mr. Larry Syid Wright. How you doing today?
What's good with you? What's going on?
Ain't nothing. So how's your week so far? How's your weekend?
Oh man, my weekend, everything is a little hectic right now. I got a big event coming up this Friday. I'm premiering my film about Ella Baker at the Greensboro History at the International Civil Rights Museum, and then I'm celebrating my company's 25-year anniversary on that Friday evening. So if anybody want to be part of that, just go to my page and at Pitch Vine on Facebook, whatever, you'll get the information. And I'm actually working on showing the film in Montgomery, Alabama at the end of this month. And
Okay.
and we're getting ready to start a new film the second week of June. So I'm like, I'm doing.
Yeah. That's good. I know you sent me the link, but I live in New Jersey, so I wouldn't be able to go to that.
Oh, no, but you good though.
But speaking about your films, right? I don't know if you was busy at the time, like a week ago. I messaged you, like, is there a
No,
way that we can? I'm sorry.
I'm gonna send you the link.
All right.
Yeah,
Because I was.
Go ahead, brother.
Oh no, because I was sitting back. I'm like, we always talk about your films and your accolades and achievements. So I was like, I got to see one of these films and see how it is.
Yeah, man, like I said, I've been kind of like neglecting my own duties because people been hitting me up, and I'm like trying to focus on, this and that, and but I'll get you. I'll definitely make sure I get you.
All right. So, as you already know, and I still got to go through my spiel because it's some people that's first time listeners, so first time viewers. So, on my platform, I like to conversate, educate, and entertain, and hopefully, as usual, we do just that. So, sticking with the topic for a minute.
Okay. So
Um,
before we go any further, I need to explain something to you right quick. When
all
you
right.
tell people I'm a Black nationalist, because some people saying just so you say Black nationalist, that means you against the system. No, all Black nationalism means that I support my people and my community first.
Right.
That's all it means. You got to look support your people and your community first in any endeavor before we step outside of our community to do anything. That's what Black
Right.
nationalism means.
Right. Same thing as being pro-black. Listen,
Yeah,
I tell
well,
people all the time that I tell people all the time I'm pro-black. And when I first started saying it, a lot of people was like, "Oh, so you're racist?" And I'm like, I could educate you on the word racist and racism, but I'm not going to do that right now. You know what I'm saying? It's not a such thing as a black racist, right? Now we could be prejudiced,
by
right? And I think
definition,
huh?
by definition,
By definition,
right,
because you have to be of the superior race,
right.
and black people have not been
In
of the superior
America,
race. So
in
therefore,
America, in America.
okay, so you get my point. So therefore, we can't be racist. We
Right.
can be prejudiced. That's the difference. Um, but I tell people all the time, I'm pro-black. Like I support my black people, the black community, right? Anytime black people trying to do something for themselves or better the community, I'm all for it.
Well, let
And
me
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, because I got a question
No,
for you after that.
all right, cool. So I'm just saying I love that and I support that because we need a lot more of that in the community. But anybody that knows me, they know I'm Baskin and Robbins when it comes to women. I I
Well,
love everybody.
my question to you is this: Can a person in an interracial relationship be pro-black?
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked that. That's a tricky question. I see what you're trying to do there. But yes, and and I think throughout the conversation, right? I think we'll touch on that a little bit. I actually like that, and as we proceed, I will give that some thought. Right? I feel like I can multitask. Because that's a great question. Can a person in an interracial relationship be pro-black? That's good.
And I asked
That's a good
that
question.
question because Griffin, the football player, and the other guy, the host, was beefing. Clark, whatever his
Right.
name, they was beefing. So what happened was through this whole conversation, Clark is going in on Griffin about him and his white girl, his white girlfriend,
Hmm.
white, whatever shit. But then somebody commented and said, "You have a baby by a white girl."
Yeah.
Then I changed the whole conversation.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So when these cats step by here and have these conversations about relationships and interracial relationships, this is my take on interracial relationships. If if I like I got friends, they dated
Yeah.
white girls all their life.
Yeah.
So I don't hold that against them because that's their preference.
Right.
But when we had these conversations about black and white, the conversation isn't like when they because the way I come off, they really can't come off like that because of the situation they in. Like even with being with having like an interracial child. But when people like stop messing with sisters or sisters stop messing with brothers,
Don't
because
say too much though, because like I said, it's a lot of things I want to touch on. So I feel like you
well,
about to jump
well,
into the middle of, you know what I'm saying?
I'm opening the door for you.
I can't. Well, I missed that. What you say?
I'm opening the door for you.
Oh, okay, okay. Respect,
So,
respect.
so when people talking about I don't mess with and this comes out of both people mouth, come out of white women mouths, black women mouths, black women. First thing they say is, well, I'm trying to deal with somebody that respects me for who I am and what I do. And Dr. Umar Johnson said something one time that made sense. He said this is what he said. He said black women want a finished product. But he said
Ooh.
he said white women will get that product from when at their lowest point and stay with them until they become a finished product.
I like that. And, I'm glad you mentioned Dr. Umar because a lot of people don't like Dr. Umar Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Because he come off strong. His delivery is strong, right? And he is super pro black. Like he comes across as if he has this hatred or this disdain to white people, but he often says he doesn't. And it's crazy because I mean, obviously you know him, but if you listen to him, he do come off that way. And he said it in several podcasts. I had to do my own homework, my own research, and I found it to be true. His biggest following is actually white people. And the way he talked, I was like, nah, this is bullshit. So
Well,
I had to do
see,
my own research, and I found out it to be true.
well, you
His
see,
biggest following is white people.
okay, so let me explain something. Let me explain this to you, brother. White people are always our biggest followers because they are nosy, they inquisitive, and they want to learn, and they want to learn from us.
Right.
So it's like this. The stuff Dr. Umar Johnson is saying, because I respect the brother, you know what I'm saying? But the stuff
Yeah.
he's saying, we already know, but they don't know.
Right.
So he's educating them. And the stuff
Right.
he's saying, no matter how it comes off, when people start going to their dictionaries, when they start Googling everything,
Hmm.
they understand.
Right. It's another thing about Dr. Umar, man. Like, and it's something that I love, right? And it hits home with me because he's a black man and he's well educated. I don't think he gets the respect that he needs for his education,
Well,
his education level.
he don't get the he don't get the respect that he deserves because he's not now. I don't know what he's doing behind closed doors, but to us, he's not playing the system. He's not playing. He's not part of the system where he can get that money or that blessing from the system because he's not
Right.
part of that system and he's not trying to be part of that system. So that's
Well,
why
well,
But
when you say the system, what do you mean? What do you mean when you say the
the
system?
government system,
Huh?
the government or the black or what they call them the gatekeeper system. Like
Oh,
Q, you see what I'm saying?
yeah.
They not part of the gate system. So if he was part of that gatekeeper system, he would have his school up, he would have
Oh,
all this. He would have
so I believe he do have a school, and if he don't,
he got a
it's
school.
supposed to be opening.
Well, he been trying to open a school in Delaware for the last 10 years.
Right, but that's not on him. It's just his delivery, and it turned a
But,
lot of people off.
but that's what I just said.
Right.
That's what I just said. It's like, and we can get back to the university. It's just like Spike Lee. Why does Spike Lee have to go to black people to get the movie Malcolm X made? and he
Yeah,
still had
that's yeah,
and he still had to beg them for the money.
that's true, and that's an excellent movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Well, that's a
It's a
good
great
movie.
movie.
It's a good movie.
Well, you don't think Malcolm X is a great movie? Listen, hold on. Malcolm X, I love it. The Butler, I love it. 12 Years a Slave, I love it. Like those movies, like Higher Learning,
Okay.
those kind of movies.
Okay,
Because
higher learning.
yeah,
Okay, so you got 12 years. I shouldn't be saying this because I'm a filmmaker. I shouldn't be saying it, but listen, the films you name are all about us are all about oppression for us.
it is. But see, but listen,
That,
it's well written.
you
Hold on. The portrayals from the actors and actresses is on point. I think the writing is great. Right,
you know
it's
what?
entertaining, and it's part of my history, and that's something I will die with. My history.
And
I'm
the
never going to
butler,
forget where we come from.
the butler, and what was the other movie? They said if they had to do it again, they wouldn't do that film.
See that I don't know, but so
They
you
said
said the
that,
movies I just named. I said 12 Years a Slave. I said The Butler, Malcolm X, Higher Learning, even Mississippi Burning. It's a great movie.
Okay, and I'm glad you brought up Mississippi Burning. So this is the thing with Malcolm X and Mississippi Burning. I love Mississippi Burning. I loved it, but this is the thing. This is the difference between Mississippi Burning and the Malcolm X movie. And Mississippi Burning, you heard that N-word. You heard all this real derogatory stuff towards black people. Am I right?
Right.
So when Malcolm X did his speeches, how deep did he go into really going in on them crackers? How much, wait a minute, let me finish. How much did they curve his dialogue
In the movie?
in the movie?
So okay, I'm gonna say this. I don't. Me personally, I don't think they curbed his language because hold on. One, because I didn't live in those times and I wasn't I wasn't surrounded by him and his people. Hold on. That's number one. That's hold on. That's number one. And number two, even in school when they teach you about him or when they talk about it, I don't think because let me take that back. They don't teach. The school don't teach about Black history. They tell you about Black history, right? Because they really don't educate. That's why they don't even. I don't even think.
Black history.
Say it again.
It's not their job. That's our job.
No, I know. That's why I took that back because they'll tell you that they teach Black history, but they don't. They delegate it to 1 week out the whole calendar year, if we even get that. That's why I have a problem.
Even when I was in school, there you go. Even how you miss. Even when I was in school, when they taught history, they taught you history about certain people that they wanted us to cuddle up to, And it took me a long time to really appreciate what Martin Luther King did until about 4 years ago, when my friend really hit me onto his work. And she sent me some stuff on his work. That's when I had a greater love and respect for him, just as much for him than I had for Malcolm. Because people they only see the surface of King, but if people see what he really went through and how involved he was, they understand why they had to kill him.
Right. And it's great. It's just crazy. It's a lot of movies that I can't think of off the top of my mind. It's just like that. What's the one not the newest, because the newest I haven't watched. The one that says X/King or something like that. I haven't watched that one, but it's another one about Martin Luther King that I thought was excellent.
See, this is the thing, and I like Martin Luther King, but you can't keep telling the same story 100 times. It's like even when we talk, it's like even my film I'm doing about Ella Baker right now. I entered a lot of film festivals, and it's not getting picked. And I just got my own personal reasons on why it's not getting picked. But we're telling a story about a lady that every time I bring up her name, people don't even know who the hell she is.
I will be honest, I don't know who she is. But when I knew that you was doing a film on her, I said, I'm all in. I want to know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We're doing a film on this lady, and I personally, I think we did a good job. People that came and seen it did a good job. But it's just like we're telling you a story about somebody that's supposed to be the mother of civil rights. She's like the mother in the church that's not being noticed. She's like the mother in the church. When the mother passed away, she don't get the love that from the congregation that she's supposed to get. That's how I look at this Ella Baker story. And people can sit here and say what they want and critique it because nobody done a film but me. So your critique, it doesn't mean a thing to me because you don't even know enough about her to critique what I'm doing.
I like that.
That's the conversation I have with people.
Yeah.
You know, and going back to the Malcolm X film, even A Time to Kill, they bit the girl with canes, they called the nigger, they did all this. But when you listen to Malcolm X speeches, you don't hear him going in like Malcolm. Denzel did a great job, but you don't hear him using the N-word, the cracker word, like he don't really go into the Malcolm because they.
But see, this is the thing. Do you really think in his time he used that language?
Have you ever listened to Malcolm X speeches?
I mean, I've heard some.
No, go to YouTube and pull up his speeches.
I'm saying I've heard some, and I don't listen. Chances is I probably didn't hear it, but like I don't recall him speaking in that language.
Malcolm X, you pull up his things from when you got to pull up Malcolm X when he's on when he's on Lenox Avenue, when he's at all these places where he's really going in. You got to pull it up. You will see. Malcolm didn't confuse or mix his words. So like I said, so it's like when we do these films and we're gonna go back to the first thing, but I want to get back. It's just like the movie that they made in Nat Turner. Was it Nat Turner? Yeah, Nat Turner. When the Rebellious Nat Turner. That movie they made was so compromised. You know what I mean? Because if anybody knew anything about Nat Turner, they actually skint.
Now, when you say Nat Turner, you talking about 12 Years a Slave?
No, Nat Turner, the guy that started the rebellion. 12 Years a Slave.
I know, but so in 12 Years a Slave.
Do I got the guy right named Nat Turner? I think the guy really is Nat Turner, right?
Yeah, with the rebellion, yeah. But if I'm not mistaken, that was he had a big role in 12 Years a Slave. I believe.
I don't really like watch movies like that, but I watched the Nat Turner movie with that old guy. Did you know they skinned him? They skinned him. And this is how they ate the white people that skinned him and burnt him, whatever. They actually kept his skin and ate it. They skinned this man.
Wild.
This is how brutal it is. They treated this man.
Yeah.
But they won't let us tell stuff like that in the movie. That's why when we talk about history and critical race theory don't mean nothing to me in school because it's our job to teach our young brothers and sisters about our history. Because it's like this: if you are a domestic abuser, why would I hire you to tell kids or people that you're a domestic abuser? You're not going to do that. You're going to tell them that you were saving people's lives.
Yeah. A lot of people like that because they don't want people to know the truth about themselves.
Exactly. So why are we sitting here taking these white people in front of Congress, taking these white people in front of all these things, and at the end of the day, they're gonna say, "Listen, Negro, if we admit we ain't shit, then y'all gonna want reparations, then you really gonna beat us up for reparations."
Right. All right, so let me get to this topic real quick. All right, so my first question I want to ask is this: do you think that we should stick with our own race as far as relationships?
Okay, well, I said some of them. So this is my thing, and I'm gonna repeat what I said. If you dated white girls all your life, that's your thing. And I don't have a problem with that. Right?
Right.
But when you get a certain status, then you say you got to go out of your race because these people make you feel secure in your lifestyle. I have a problem with that. You see what I'm saying? But when you pull the OJ, you see what I'm saying? We shouldn't let you back in the neighborhood, back in the family. Because now you're coming back just for protection.
Right.
But then when you get cleared or thinking you then used us up, then you go back to their system.
Right.
That's my thing. So I really, like I say, I really don't care who you date or who you marry, but don't do it for status. If you
Right.
call
So
that a love, because like I said, I think we had this conversation before. I got a nephew that's got 2 kids by white girls. And he educated me and schooled me on my relationship with him and my role as an uncle.
right. I got you. I didn't ask you if you cared though. I asked you, in your opinion, do you think we should all stick with our own race? That's two different questions.
Like I said, I think we should.
Okay.
Because I think we should. But love,
Go ahead.
love's, how can I put this? But love conquers all that.
Right.
You can't, if you fall, you can't, how can I put this? You can't put a tag on love. If you fall in love with a white girl and the white girl fall in love with you, that's your thing. But like I said before, I don't think we should be in interracial relationships, but I don't have a problem with it. Now, coming up when I was young, you know what I mean? If you ask me, would I knock down a white girl? Hell yeah.
So let me ask you this. So being that you said that you truly think that we should stick with our own race, tell me why.
Because I just think, I know, but she said absolutely not. You can't stop. Who is your person.
Here's your person, right?
No, but what did I just say? I just said love is different. If y'all in love, regardless of what I think, and I think that when the shit hits at the end of the day, when the shit hits the fan, and when it comes down to God saying this is it, it's going to come down to where you at, in your relationship with God, because I just personally think that we don't benefit from that, and overall white people that are in relationships, I don't want to say don't benefit. They catch just as much hell as we do, because now it's not that they white going out of their race relationship. Now they're white messing with somebody black. And most of the kids that come out are going to be a darker color than what they are, regardless if they light skin. Very rarely do you see mixed people have white looking kids.
So we definitely had that conversation before. My kids look more white than black by far. Skin color wise.
What about the hair?
White.
Okay. But let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this good question. If somebody was seeing you with your kids, would they think your kids were all white or mixed? Or if they were just walking beside you or behind you?
So I would say my youngest, I mean, maybe it'll develop with age a little bit, but my daughter, I think people was just quite naturally like, yeah, she's white. I mean, I've had people say that. I'm like, oh, whose kid is that? And mine. They're like, oh. And then the looks on their faces like, oh, shit, what?
Right.
You joking? I'm like, no, I'm serious.
But like I said, most of the time, our melanin is so strong, kids even if they look white, they got some features about us in their physical physical being.
Right. Now my daughter, she just barely past 1 year old. So like I said, maybe they had to come, because I have my 5-year-old, he just started getting a little, pigment and stuff, a little color. But for a long time, he looked white. You know what I'm saying? His hair, you see his hair is super white.
Did you ever see the movie with them on? Now I'm not talking about your kids now. Did you ever see the movie with Denzel on the ship? We know the movie with Denzel was on the ship with what's his name? And he was trying to take over the ship because the guy wanted to start a war.
I want to say yes, I'm not sure.
Gene Hackman. It was a movie with Gene Hackman.
I would have to see. I would have to know the title for me to know which one.
I can't tell you the story, then, but don't worry about it. But getting back to the first thing, like I said, who you choose to love is on you. Now, do I think we should be in a mixed relationship? I don't. But am I against it? I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I can't. Like I said, dealing with my nephews, I can't be against it, because if I'm against it, I'm against my nephews.
I was laughing at that right there.
Yeah, there you go. She know what I'm talking about.
Nah, because that's my kid's mom. So like she
said when you ask,
No, I laugh because everybody always say black people got big noses and shit. Like
Well, do
I
they
had
got
somebody
curly
ask
hair?
me,
Do they got curly
"Oh, my
hair?
kids."
Yeah.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go, right there.
But what I'm saying is, it's my daughter and my 5-year-old. Their hair is pure white. Like it's not curly like naps like black people. Now my other one, his hair is closer to black people than white people. It's crazy. It looked like a little afro, but it's thin and it's straight, but it's
Okay,
different.
let me ask you this quick question. So we having a conversation. Even though now, what is how old is your oldest child?
My oldest is 10, but his mom's black, so that's why I didn't mention him.
Okay, well, only reason I can answer that question. So you haven't had to have the conversation. You or the mother. This is the mother of your kids, right, Allison?
Yeah, well, of 3 of them, yeah.
Okay, so you haven't had the conversation with them yet.
About what?
What they could possibly go through for being mixed.
Oh no, I think they're too young. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And plus,
right.
trying to talk to my 5-year-old about that, he's not going to grasp that. So,
because he don't have to agree with them because he's young, and all young kids at that age, all they want to do is play. They don't care who it is. But as he gets older, the conversation's going to come up. You know what I mean? So how do you? I don't know. So how do you explain that to your interracial child? That dude, listen, I know you this, but they look at you as being this. You look at you
when I see fit to have that conversation, right? Like I pretty much know exactly what I'm gonna say. I don't think it'll be difficult for me to have.
Okay.
I mean, that's just me being honest. I got some time before I have to talk about that. Now, it's funny you asked me that because my son, that's his mom is black. I haven't had the conversation with him, and you know what threw me off? What fucked me up is this: he was dealing with a lot of racial slurs and racial situations in school, and the principal in the school said, "So, Dad, how come you haven't had these conversations with him?" And I looked at him, I'm like, "Well, damn. I mean, I wanted him to focus on school, and I can't really tell you why I didn't have those conversations, but maybe I should have, because this is the thing. So he was dealing with, like, because I live in a white town, and
what
the
town you
school,
from in Jersey?
huh?
What town you from in Jersey?
Well, right now I'm in Lacey Township. It's a white town.
Right.
Now in school, a lot of the kids was calling him a monkey. They were saying stuff about him, go back to Africa, or the tree you fell off of, and things of that nature. And to my son, he looked at that was the biggest joke. He even came home with that shit. I'm like, oh, where you getting this shit from? That shit ain't cool. So that's why the principal was like, how come you haven't had that conversation? I was like, well, I never knew it was a situation, and I just didn't feel like it was necessary. And on top of all that, I didn't want to try to educate him on that now, and then he take that shit to school, and now he don't want nothing to do with white people, knowing he have biracial siblings. You know what I'm saying? So that was my reasoning.
How old is
he? He's 10.
Well, see,
he's soon to be 11 though.
But see, what it is, this is and I can't tell you how to parent. I can't tell you how to parent. You know what I'm saying? But when your 10-year-old kid come home and have that kind of issue, as a parent and as a black man, you got to keep it 100.
You're right, and that's what I said.
Because he's old enough to know now.
But look, you're right. He is. Up until that point, I didn't feel like it was necessary.
What?
Now, listen, because first of all, it's bad enough we live in a white town, and I say that because when I've been living in the town for 8 years, my neighbors know me by now. How every year the same neighbors call the police on me and say, "Run! I've random black guys checking people's mailboxes, right in my own yard." Or they say, "I random black guys stealing Halloween decorations or stealing Christmas decorations." It's absurd. So I'm dealing with this, right? Sometimes it tick me the hell off, but at this point, I like to tell people that I'm used to it. So it don't really, it don't bother me that much.
Okay, well, I'm gonna tell
because
you
I know it's to be expected. Hold on. So to teach my son that, I didn't want him to take that and cause problems in school because he had behavior issues. So imagine him going to school and saying cracker this, or going to school and saying I don't like white people. And you know how foolish he would look having biracial siblings. So like I said, I was waiting for the right time, and then when this was going on in school, I thought it was a one-off. But then it happened again. And then it happened the third time. So in my eye. So it's something that you have to slowly bring on into your kids. You have to teach them slowly. It's got to be. I can't hear you.
What color is the principal?
Huh?
What color was the principal?
What color? He white.
Okay, so this is the thing. When the principal asks you, did you have this discussion with your son? What did you say to the principal?
I told him no. I just told you that. I told him no.
But see, brother.
But the only reason why he said that, for one, no, I'm gonna tell you, it's two reasons why he said that. Hold on. It's two reasons why he said that. One, because my son thought it was a joke. My son was saying racial stuff about himself and about other black people because he lacked the knowledge of that. That's number one. And number two, listen, my baby mom was more mad about the situation than I was. For her to be white in there and causing problems, I was like, this is the principal. I was like, oh my God, is she going to tone this shit down a little bit?
Did you ask the principal why did he talk to the students?
Well, I told you, my kid's mom, she did all that. And she was all, hold on. He did talk to them. He talked to the parents, he talked to the kid, everything. The kids, they got suspended and everything. Like, so all that was taken care of. I wasn't going to let it go unnoticed.
Okay, I'm just asking because you there you go right there. You talking like, just because I didn't talk to him, it's okay. And your kid's mom had to step in. Now what I'm about to say, don't take this the wrong way, but
I don't have thin skin.
Huh?
I don't have thin skin, so go ahead.
As a black man, your wife should have done nothing but support what she said. You should have said, because you the man.
Okay. So that's your opinion, and that's cool. This is the thing. I'm
just saying, brother. Especially because it's like, me and my wife was watching a TV show the other day. And she brought this to my attention. The guy's son wasn't good at baseball.
Right.
So the dad said, I'm going to work with you. Right. So the mom was like, no, I'm going to work with you and teach you how to become a better baseball player. See what I'm saying? My wife, she peeped in. She said, look at that. Now, why is she going to take the ball and the bat out of the dad's hand, demasculate him and masculate herself? That's the shit that's the same thing I'm saying about you and your son. You should have told your wife, said, honey, I got this. And you should have went in on that principle and let him understand that your son ain't none of that. Whether he talk to them kids or not, or suspending them. And say, listen, brother, don't ask me why did I talk to my son. Did you talk to them kids and their parents? Just like you said, the white people just like you said, you living in this white town and you got the only house on the block and they calling the police and all this stuff on you. I mean, come on, bro.
Hey, listen, people, places, and things, right? It's a time for everything, right? And to go to a school when people already look at black people as being rude, obnoxious, uneducated. For me to go in there, guns blazing, only makes me look like a fool.
No,
you have to conduct yourself. Listen. You just like you can't tell me how to be a parent. As far as this is how I conduct my business, right? You conduct your business in a reasonable manner. You get your point across, and you step off. You get you don't sit here and try to get your point across and it's chaotic and it's an uproar. It's a problem. You get nowhere in life like that. When Malcolm X and all these people, right? These prominent black people, when they made a stand, they ain't do it like that. They protested. They wasn't trying to combat people with the law with violence. No, because they understood you get nowhere by doing that. By yelling and acting a fool, you get nowhere by doing that.
I did not say you were supposed to yell or act a fool.
So listen, first of all, I needed the details. I needed all this stuff because I worked. So I had no knowledge of it. So when she told me and we went to the school, first thing you have to do is absorb the information. You have to obtain the information. So now you know how to combat that. You need to know how to speak on it. You know what I'm saying? I had no knowledge. I needed the details. So we get in there and they talk slow and they try to get the words out right and all this shit. So I'm sitting here and I'm observing and I'm listening. And then she went off And at that point, if she goes off, I'm not gonna cut her off. She already got the situation handled. Now I did add my 2 cents where it needed.
I will not listen. Let me say this, and we need to move on.
You're right.
And we need to move on. You ain't got to justify nothing to me.
I ain't justified. You made a statement, and so I'm speaking on it. It's not justification. I don't need validation or justification.
All I said was this. That we're going to move on. As the head, the Bible talks about it. The Quran talks about it. The Torah talks about it. As the head, when y'all went in there, that's me. I told my wife, listen, you let me handle it. When you need to voice your opinion, I don't have a problem with it. I said, but initially, you let me handle it. We're going to get to the bottom of it. That's all. So let's move on.
Okay. I'm going to say this, that we definitely going to move on. But you know what that is? That's called control.
What?
And listen, hold on. Yeah. It's called control by putting a woman in her place. I'm not about placement in a relationship. So telling her, no, I'm the head, control this, and when you add something you needed to add, then you can basically raise your hand, because that's basically what you're saying.
No, sir.
No. That is control, and I'm not controlling.
I'll tell you what.
That is control, and that's what the white man did to the slaves. Control. They dictated everything that was going to happen. I'm not for that.
Put that question right there to your listeners and say, hey, let's put that question right there. It's about the role of a man and the role of the wife. You coming in there to defend your son. And from a father's perspective and from a male's perspective, you supposed to go in there and have that conversation. And I'm not saying your wife isn't supposed to speak, but like I said, when she got her point across, and I mean, sometimes there's nothing wrong with raising your voice, especially when somebody is threatening your son like that. And then the principal going to ask you, did you talk to you? I did talk to my son about it, but why is this happening? You need to be talking to them about it and the principal, because it ain't just started. It's been going on. And the only reason why they probably done something about it, because your wife went down there or called down there and said, listen, we need to have a conversation. Then the principal want to get involved.
So this thing. So all right. So add to that, and we definitely want to move on. So add to that. So they already disciplined the other kids before they had us come in. That's number one. Number two, like the whole purpose was for them to include us, and so we would be included, and so we will be aware of the situation.
Well, that's good.
The other kids got suspended, and the thing is, the school, right? Because I had this conversation with other black men, other black women, parents, and they was like, "Oh, the white man ain't gonna never do this." They got the police involved, and I thought that was that's too far. On the cops coming, but hold on, the police on some people that's 9 and 10 years old. Like I think that's a little far.
Listen, do you watch videos of them handcuffing these little black kids at 8, 9, 10 years old because they ride down the street on a bike? Let me explain something to you, brother. These kids are 8, 9, 10 years old. They didn't get that shit right in school. They got that craziness from their parents. So now they hold them parents accountable. I don't think no kid. I don't think kids should be, treated as an adult. But if you want to sit here and call black kids niggas, boogaboos, and all this stuff, and the principal and the school don't get involved, and the only reason why they get involved because of probably your wife or you, I don't think they should have been handcuffed, but if they did, good for them.
Well, they was trying to ask if we want to press charges. That's what they was getting at, and I'm like,
nah. I want to press charges.
Like if they was older in age or something like that, sure. Now I don't even know how that works.
I would have pressed charges on the parents.
Right.
But let's move on, brother.
Right. I don't know why she put this like she. And nobody say nothing about getting away with anything. That's not what I was saying. But
we understand where I'm coming from.
So all right. Going back, I said black women have suffered the most at the hands of this society and this planet, right? So do you think that black men should be loyal to black women?
Well,
and that goes back to that kind of goes back to that other question I asked you about sticking with your own kind.
So
I said black women have suffered the most at the hands of this society and this planet. So do you think that black men should be loyal to black women as far as relationships?
I think both should be loyal to both. So this a friend of mine sent me. A friend of mine. I'm gonna try to find this thing. A friend of mine sent me this unemployment stat thing.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 70s, women unemployment was low. Women's unemployment was low. Men's employment was high. Right.
Right.
So starting somewhere in the 70s, you started seeing black women's employment going up and black men's employment going down. So that was the start of the demasculating of the black man. So if you move up to 2025 and you look at the employment rate, either the women's employment rate is equal to ours, probably higher than ours than the black men. So when
It's
we
higher. It's higher. I've did my research at the beginning of the year because I
right,
heard somebody I heard a public speaker speaking, and I never take anything for
well,
value
we
right
have
at first.
see. So I'm educating you. See, I've been doing this. I do my homework on shit, and I got people that send me stuff. So when people try to fact check me, I say, "Well, go do your homework." Then they'll come back and say I'm right. I just don't speak. I used to speak off the top of my head, but I was educated. See what I'm saying? So I think both parties still want to be, be. I don't like using the word loyal, but I think both parties still want to love each other. But they're putting both parties in a position to make us not want to be with each other because of how the system got the whole game set up right now.
Right. Right.
So if a woman, it's like with me and my wife. Like I will put it to you like this: most with my wife, my first wife, my girlfriend. The one thing about them, even if they made more money than me, I made sure that me as a husband took care of everything that needed to be taken care of.
Mm.
We didn't have that issue about every now and then when you're young, even like early relationship, it happens. But me, and being educated by my mother and other people that were single parents and men, they would say, listen, your role, this is what you should do if you want to be a great father or take on the responsibility of taking care of your family.
Right.
That's what you do. And then he said, when they talking about the relationship is 50-50, he said, really, the relationship isn't 50-50. The relationship is the man, and we can't use the head of the household no more, but the man should always try his best to be the provider.
Right.
He said, try our best to be the provider. Because once you try your best to be the provider, your wife is going to respect you, or your girl going to respect you and love you more for you putting out the effort.
Right, and I love that you said that, man, because it's crazy. Because tomorrow I actually have a podcast episode where it's gonna be men, and it's gonna be women, so it's gonna be a little balance going on. So tomorrow's topic is about, let me see, it's one of the topics is how come women claim they want a good man, but yet they set unreasonably high expectations, right? And then the second part of that is without blaming a man, why can't women keep a man? So
Well,
that's
I'm gonna answer
tomorrow's
that for you.
topic.
I'm not gonna be on your show tomorrow, but I might tune in. You know how I do. But this is
Yeah.
the thing. This is the thing. Now say that first one again.
How come women claim they want a good man, and then that a man to check off all the boxes, but the woman set these unreasonably
Well,
high expectations.
let me explain to you why that's some bullshit.
Oh,
Because
it is. You think
yeah,
so?
yeah, but let
Okay.
me tell you why it's bullshit. If a woman want a good man, she's already a good woman. She want to be a good woman. So her expectations is about just forming a great relationship. When a woman, when a
You said they
woman,
claims they want a good man.
I'm breaking it down to you. So
Okay.
a woman with high standards, even standards that's beyond what she can live up to, is why the relationship don't work.
Right. And that's why
That's
I'm gonna have
it.
this conversation because I got crucified. Because what I like to do is on social media, on Snapchat, Facebook, all that. I like to post certain questions that ideas for a podcast episode. And the way these women attack me is crazy. You
Well,
don't think that it was the Romans trying to crucify Jesus, and it's insane. So this
this
one
is,
woman was like, "You pissing me off? Like, why are you attacking women?" I'm like, "I'm not attacking nobody. It was a question."
but see, this is the thing. This is the thing, though. If you are happy and secure in your skin, stuff
Yeah,
don't get to you. There's a lot of good men and a lot of good women out here. You know what I
that's
mean?
true.
There's a
That's
lot of
true.
bad women and a lot of bad men out here, no matter what color you are. You know what I'm saying?
That's
But art,
that's true.
but
Go ahead.
and the dude and the guy, I always go back to this guy's video clip. Nice guy, want to take a girl out. She's from the project, just like what you said. She's from the project. He pulls up. She gets in the car. He said, da 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 da. He said, so where you want to go? She said, well, I want to go here. I want to go here. He said, listen. He said, baby, I just wanted to take you somewhere so we can get to know each other. But she said,
Hmm.
well, if you can't take me here, you can't do
I don't
nothing.
want nothing to do with you. Yeah, I
But,
can't. That's the
but this
premise
what
of
he no,
my
but
show
let me
tomorrow.
finish. But it's the mind. But this what he said. He said, honey. Now we dealing with the mindset. And he said, honey, let me ask you this question. He said, who do you live with? She said, I live with my mom. He said, where do you
Hmm.
live at? She said, well, I live in the project. And he said, it didn't have no difference where it didn't. He said, but you live with your mom, you live in the project. How many kids you got? He said, I got 2 kids. He said, so let me ask you this question. He said, I'm not trying to be rude. What do you bring to the table?
There you
Well,
go.
you tell me that you win all of this and you don't even bring anything to the table. He said, first thing you don't bring to the table is respect for me and respect for
Hmm.
you as 2 people. He said, so get out my car.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. This is the premise of my conversation tomorrow. Or how about this to add to that, and we're going off topic a little bit, but to add to that, listen, it's women that be like, oh, this man got to make X amount of money a year. Then you ask that woman, well, what do you do? I'm unemployed, bitch. How the fuck you gonna sit there and set the bar this high for a man, and you ain't got a pot to piss in? So that's what I mean by
Well,
unreasonably high expectations.
but
It
that
makes no sense.
but see, and but us as men, us as men, we kind of, it's like this. We kind of sets ourselves up for that because most time before we try to date somebody, we already know a little bit about them or got information on them. So
Right.
if I'm making $100,000 and you trying to date a hood chick, that's because you trying to get some booty or whatever, and then she tell you doing all this stuff, you set yourself up for that.
Right.
Because all she's looking at is the finer things that you have to offer. She ain't looking at no relationship. She just want the finer thing. But
Right.
you right there and you find somebody that's working, no matter if she's making $100 an hour or $30 an hour or $5 an hour. But if you find somebody out there that's working, male or female, that's grinding and trying to have their own, the whole conversation is different.
Mm.
Because they already know off gate. They already know off gate that, listen, I'm doing my thing, you doing your thing. If you want to help me out, that's fine. If not, I'm gonna keep it moving. But if we in
Hmm.
a relationship, we should be able to help each other out if it comes to that point.
Right. Hey,
And
Syed,
people
let
don't
me
look
ask you.
at
Let me throw this one to you, and we're gonna get back on topic.
it. Okay.
So another one that I've heard lately, right, and I've had to break it down to somebody because a lot of women just, I'm telling you, they come at me crazy. So recently, it was this woman, right? I kid you not. She had, or not had, has 6 children, and yet she took also she want a top tier man, or that's her level of expectations. But then she'll sit there and say, I would never fuck with a nigga they got kids. I would never fuck with a man that got kids. How the fuck does that make sense? So you expect the man to give you a chance with 6 kids, but you won't give a man a chance that might have only 1 kid. How does that make sense?
Well, it's like this. I look at it like this. If she got 6 kids, she just don't want no more. She just don't want no more. I don't want to use the word in the wrong way. She just don't want no more headaches. But that's another. That's it. But let
I
me
understand that, but at the
on the
same
flip
time,
side,
she expects the
but
man to give
see,
her a
but see,
chance.
right? But see, that's the type of. But see, and all you sisters out there, I don't want y'all to take this in the wrong way. But that's the type of. But that's the type of woman that's disgruntled
Yeah,
and mad at the world because between the first kid and the 6 kids, she didn't get what she wanted.
right.
She still got she still got them lofty dreams. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But are you working? Are you bringing things to the table? And like it's like right now, it's hard for people to date women or men to date women to date men that got kids because they know that's just another situation that they have to deal with. And
I got you.
a lot of parents now that are single parents, if they dealing with their mom, and even if they got a kid, you still have to tread water when you deal with their kid, because the first thing going to come out their mouth eventually is that's my, oh man. Well, listen, but yeah, but what I'm saying is, so that's just some more baggage you got to deal with. So,
Right.
but on the snow bunny thing, like I said, I don't believe. I just believe that we should stick it on, but I don't have a problem with people dating out of a relationship. Because, like I said, when I was young and coming up, you know what I mean, it was some white girls that's pretty as hell, and I would have messed with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But with me growing up and being more educated about my place, but I don't, I don't disrespect nobody for what they do, because that's your life. But I do have a question with people, black women or black men, who say I'm dating out of my race because these people here makes me feel like I'm whatever, financially or mentally. Like they
I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. Again, this next question, it's sort of the same question, but I guess it's slightly different, but whatever. If you feel it's the same, we can move on from it, right? Well, all right. So what I wanted to ask you is, because we come from a black woman, right? Do you think that black men should have a special obligation to black women?
I don't think nobody should. Obligation is a strong. See, we're not obligated to do anything.
Right.
This is. I don't care what color you are. This is a man's role, and this is a woman's role. He said who's that? Tell him he must not be sending that to me, because he don't know how far I go back. I'm 67 years old. So, even before Dr. Umar Johnson came out with the pro-blackness, I've been always on that level. I've been part of it.
Hold on. I thought you knew Nicholas. So I definitely don't. So, Nicholas, who might you be?
Let's see. I've been running.
Go ahead.
I started being educated when I became affiliated with the Nation of Islam in 1976. So whoever this brother is, and I like what he can say what he wants, but Dr. Umar Johnson is like my young brother.
Agents, Queens.
I'm gonna stop, man.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but so getting back to that was so what was your question again? Because he got me off track.
Yeah, he was in Black Queens. I don't know who that is, but so the question was, I said, because we come from a black woman, do you think that black men should have a special obligation to black women?
Nobody, as far as a community, I think we should, we should definitely come together and try to work and whatever relationship we had that's working and make it better. But nobody is obligated to do anything. It's about where your heart is. It's about how just because you came from a black woman, doesn't mean that you want to be in a black neighborhood or a black community, or not bleach your skin. You know what I mean?
Right.
You were just birthed by a black woman, but that don't mean you don't want to. Some people, they birthed by black women and with that. Listen, I like them white girls, or I don't really want to be black. I ain't black. Well, you got people out there that think like that until the shit hit the fan.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard a lot of black people denounce who they are, and it fucked me up. And Bill Cosby said he's not black, and when he used to say that, I used to be like, "What the fuck are you then?" Like, fuck.
Well, see, this is the thing about when people denounce their race, they just confused, because, like I said, when shit hit the fan, the first thing they want to do is like Candace Owens that time talking about I ain't this and that. Then she sued the college. She didn't believe in racism, but then next thing you know, 2 years after that, she's suing the college for being because she said the college was racist towards her, but she don't believe in racism. So if you don't believe in racism, why are you suing the college?
Right. I got you. I know. And this shit I be saying, like, a lot of people are brainwashed. They're confused. A lot of people got an opinion, but they don't stand on their word, or they don't stand on those opinions. Appreciate you. So, Syed, let me ask you this. So I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this too, but I gotta ask the question. Um, do you think that it's insulting when blacks marry out or reproduce outside of the black community?
It's like it's not a man. We had these crazy things, these crazy notions. But listen, if you in love, and I go back to love. If you in love with somebody, don't matter what color they are. If you in love with them and you have a baby with them, you got to deal with that. Now, is it
Right,
insulting? Is it insulting for a person to have a child out of a race? This is what's insulting, to have a child out of your race. If you have a child out of your race and then you try to
right,
own the child because the baby isn't black, or you try to disown the child because the baby isn't white. That's insulting, because you lay down with that white chick, or that white chick laid down with the black guy, or whoever you want to look at it. And then when this kid come out, all of a sudden, that ain't my baby, but the motherfucker black
right,
is you. That's
right,
insulting. But love, when
right,
you love somebody, what I mean, you can't hold a person accountable for having an interracial kid if they in love, or even out of relationship, because you had sex with them. And then like looking at it like that, the kid is being victimized.
right,
You see what I'm saying? It's bad
right,
enough. It's bad enough. He gonna grow up and might be called a damn this and that because he mixed and this and that. And but one thing I will say this: black people have a greater respect or a love for mixed kids than white people.
mm,
That white, black, mixed kids don't go through the hard shit. Now some do, but as a whole, mixed kids don't go through the same bullshit with black kids than they go through with white kids.
I think mixed kids, when we talk about white and black, I think when shit hit the fan, I think they deal with is that like everything that black people deal with, right?
Yeah,
Because
that's
society's
what I said. That's what I said.
oh, okay, okay,
What
oh,
I
okay.
said
I thought you
was
said the
black
opposite.
kids, mixed kids don't go through as much bullshit with black kids than they go through with white kids or white people.
Right.
You
I
see what
got you.
I'm saying?
Yeah. Um, so when black men date outside of their race, do you think that some black women feel as though something is wrong with them for black men not choosing them?
Well, I think they used to. Now they don't give a fuck.
You don't think women care?
They don't care and take it to heart like they used to, because they see so much of it now, and
Mm.
they understand that this strong black sister here, just by, how can I use this, you know this strong black sister here, how can I use, I don't want to say the wrong thing, know that she got this in the back of their mind, got this white girl, because she know that, because she believes this black man can mold out white girl into what he want her to be.
Right.
That's
So it sounds like who is this? What's good, guys? Just came back from a trip in Thailand. Was known so much love and looking to retire. So done with
well, Esther, can he get me some bootleg sneaks?
So I heard you if you watch it. I don't know who that is either.
Oh,
So
listen, well, check this out. So this guy is so let me explain to these cats what's going on here. So these cats go to these islands, right? They
right.
marry these Philippine girls. They marry these Taiwanese girls. They marry these Japanese girls. They marry these Chinese girls. And then just when they bring them over here, after a year, they leave them because they get Americanized, and their Chinese friends over here, their Taiwanese friends over here in America, and these Philippine friends over here in America say, listen, I can show you how to get paid. Leave that Negro. That's what happens. So when you over there, listen, when you over there, they're gonna listen. When you in these countries like that, they're gonna fuck your brains out because they're gonna get some of your money. They're gonna tell you they love
Mm.
you. And just soon they get over here and get Americanized, your ass is mad as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, if you marry a woman, if a guy marry a woman in the Philippines, if they get divorced, the woman get 100% of everything you got?
I never heard of that. I had to check
Yeah.
that. Say it. I got it. Let me write that down because I'm going to check that out.
But if a guy from here go to the Philippines and marry a woman in the Philippines, if she divorce him, she gets everything.
I'm gonna have to check that out because if that's true,
Oh,
that's insane.
yeah.
So
But
you saying off rip? That's regular.
pull it up. Do your homework.
I know I will. I'm not gonna do it right now, but I'm
Right,
definitely gonna
but
look that up because
so
that's
that's why when
insane.
all these guys, that's like when all these guys go over these foreign countries and get these girls, and these girls is all this and that. They kissing their feet, washing their butt, doing all this stuff. Just soon they get over here in America, the whole conversation changed after about a year or two. Cause they
Hold on, what this
motherfuckers
guy?
over here tell you, cause see over there they don't got
He
right.
said, yeah, never bring them back. Stay in their countries. They do become westernized.
I'm trying to tell you.
Shit, this is wild. Um,
You know,
let's see.
let me tell you this. I appreciate you for having me a guest on your show because I don't get a lot of people on my show. Like the most people I get on my show is conscious people, but a lot of people won't even ask me to be on their show. And I got a lot of followers because of my conversation. I don't got
Right,
time to sit here and kick the bullshit. And you ain't gonna sit here and not you, but you I'm not gonna sit here and listen to you tell me some shit that ain't even fucking true. It's just true to
right,
you. You want to live in your own truth, which is probably a lie.
right. Yeah, and I respect you for coming on because that's one thing I tell anybody that comes on my show. I don't want you to sugarcoat nothing. Whoever you are, be yourself. I had people say, "Can I drink? Can I smoke?" Whoever you are, just be yourself. I don't care. My shit right here is virtual. I don't care. Now, the thing is, I'm excited about. I do have a studio being worked out, built, whatever, where I will have some live and in person shows, which I'm excited about. Now, that's gonna be different. I don't think I'm gonna have. I definitely ain't gonna have people getting high and then drinking. I'm not sure if I should allow that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you don't want people to get fucked up and they get belligerent. You know what I'm saying? So that's something I got to consider, right? Because my business partner, he's the one that's setting up the studio. So that's something him and I have to discuss. But we're going. So the plan is, I'm still gonna have the Sipping and Tripping podcast. He gonna have his own podcast. So there's like he have his guests, I have my guests, and then we can have cross promotion type thing. Like his audience, his viewers can be on mine, and vice versa, and things like that. So he has his own, I have my own, and we come together and we one big project. So that's the plan.
Okay.
What's it? What's this? Is it you guys heard about the passport broke movement? Nah, I know. I don't know what you're talking about. You?
I don't know. That's probably these brothers trying to get these passports and go to these other places and stuff. Everybody trying to get a passport right now. But see, this is the thing about a passport, which I need to get one too. But shit getting so crazy, you ain't gonna know where to go.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Listen, bro. So let's move on to the next one because I ain't got much time.
Right. So, do you think that most black men choose white women because he can put his car in her name and he is a financial gain for him for being with her?
Well, those that do that is mental. Because
Right.
you can ask any attorney, you can ask any attorney. So when the black chick divorce you, she gonna get what she
So
get.
we're not talking about divorce. I'm saying, do you think that that's
Let,
why a lot of black men get with white
let,
women
let
for
me
financial gain?
no, let me break it down to you. I got to break it down to you.
All right.
So they think it's a financial gain until the shit hit the fan. Because these white women ain't dumb, just like black women ain't dumb. So at the end of the day, whatever you put in their name is theirs. Now you thinking you're going to put all this shit in their name, especially when you marry or when you trying to date them, and then when you start doing stupid shit, then when they tell you they done it and you want to start busting windows and this and that, they got you. So
Yeah.
they just fooling themselves, thinking that these white chicks or these Oriental chicks or these Taiwanese chicks, they just fooling themselves, thinking these chicks is dumb. These chicks ain't dumb. It's like these white
Right.
girls on these college football campuses. They are groomed.
Right.
These white girls are groomed to mess with the elite black athletes in college.
Right.
They groomed by their parents.
Right.
Their parents is telling them, you get him, you pay. Whether you might fall in love with him, stay with him forever. But whatever happens at the end of the day, you pay.
Right.
Them black girls them black girls, they can't, you would think they be trying to be groomed, but them black girls ain't groomed like that because the brothers, the sisters already know what they dealing with. And the brothers ain't trying to deal with them because them black sisters ain't dumb.
Right. I mean, black women have come a long way. I will say that. But
don't tell them that. Don't tell black women they came a long way. Black women always been the leader when it comes to anything. We just didn't give them their props. During the civil rights movement, during the civil rights struggle, if you do your homework, you don't understand how powerful these black women were. Black women always had their power. It's just that we tried to control it. Like we trying to control it now.
I'm glad you mentioned that word control. I said that earlier when you were saying that a woman should have her place, and I told you that was control. We're not gonna go backwards though. Yeah, what?
No, we're not gonna go back there because control is different from you letting your wife talk to these people about your son, something that the man should do. That's a different conversation. But let's move forward.
Okay. Let's see. Statistics show that black men marry outside of their race more than every other group of men per capita. Did you know that?
Yeah. Yes or no? And I'll say now, let me say this to you. Have you ever seen NFL wives, NBA wives together in a group picture?
I mean, I have.
No. Have you ever seen NFL players' wives and NBA player wives in a group picture?
Oh, you talking about NBA? Oh, NBA and NFL like together?
Either or.
I mean, I have. I mean, I would say it's probably like a 50-50 split for me because I see it a lot, but I know a lot of them would like to keep their shit private. So, it depends.
What I'm asking you is this: have you ever, how all the NBA players get together and stand on the steps and take a group picture? Have you ever seen NBA wives?
Oh, the wives.
That's what I said.
Oh, no.
Well, you know why, right?
Why's that?
Because all of them damn near white.
I mean, hey, listen, that's true. I will stand behind that because I've seen it. There's a lot of times I'm like, I wonder who this person always told my wife, but I don't never see it. So I said, let me see it, and then I look, I'm like, oh, she white.
So you will never ever see that. I mean, it's a little bit different now because of the times, but you will never ever see that, or you will never ever see the football wives because a lot of their wives are white.
Because Western women are feminists. I never heard of that.
I mean, neither.
Passport bros.
Passport. See that? What you mean by? I guess passport means they just go to other countries.
I'm about to write that down too, because after the show I have to check that out. Passport bros.
Take foreign women in other countries because you got to have a passport to go to a bunch of different countries.
Right.
But I think he's a little bit. I think he's delusional.
Talk that shit. So look, when blacks enter interracial relationships, is it deliberate, or are they saying I just don't want my black counterpart, or do you think that they're a victim of subconscious hate?
Well,
like it's something about themselves and their black skin that they just hate, that forces them to date outside their race.
Well, this is the wrong. This. Can you type this in? Can you type something in on the screen?
On the screen,
right?
Like
what he just did. Can you do that?
I mean, sure.
Yeah. So this is what I want you to type in. I want people. This is what's wrong, and why we date out of our race. This is why we if we get certain wars, we're not happy or satisfied until we gain the approval of white people. And anything we do, that's why we date out of our race. That's why if we don't win an Oscar, that's why all these different things, unless we get the approval of white people, we're not satisfied. And that's why a lot of these brothers, and I could be wrong, that's why I believe these brothers date these white women out of their race, because they can say they have successful and they have made it. Now, once again, for brothers that's been dating white girls all their lives and in love with them, I don't have an issue with that. But when you start dating out of your race or seek approval from anybody, that's just you're telling me as a black man that, you know what I mean, you don't want to be part of the movement no more.
Let me see. I'm not sure if I can post my own comment. Let me see. Oh, I can.
He said black dates out of our race because we do not get approval. No, blacks date outside of their race because they want approval from whites.
Okay. He said because they want approval. All right.
And that's for anything.
Right. Okay. Let me see. What I have next? Go ahead. You was about to say something?
But you know where I'm coming from. They know where I'm coming from.
Right. I follow you.
But you know, so
right. So American society portrays the white woman as the symbol of success. How do you think that affects black men and black women mentally?
Well, we kind of just answered that, but I would say it like this. If you in your house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And aren't you going to portray your wife as being successful regardless, even if she might be, even if out when people come visit your wife, even if you and your wife having the worst relationship ever, people don't know you when they come to your house, you're both going to put on the front where y'all having this great relationship.
Man, of course, but I'm not talking about like individual. I'm talking about society.
No, but that's how society works. Society has to put on that front. That's how they have to put on that front.
Right.
You feel me?
So right. So all right. So I'm gonna give you an example real quick. Like, you know, when I often speak about this, and a lot of people say, "Oh, bro, we don't live in those times." It's the point in the message I'll be trying to portray to people or convey to people. This is the thing. A lot of people don't know the movie or the book or the story about King Kong is built off of racism, right? So people that do their homework, they would know that Kong is portrayed as the black man, right? And you see, he was killing everybody, blacks, white, it doesn't matter, the Filipinos, it didn't matter. But he bowed down to one person, and it was the white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes, right? And he was held captive and brought to New York. You know what I'm trying to say? That movie was built on racism. You know what I'm saying? It was about them trying to bring like the what you call it, a domestic like animal, right, into civilization.
Well, like I said earlier, is that if you have control over the system, you can portray anything you want.
Yeah.
And if you keep entering it, if you keep introducing it, and see, this is, and I'm gonna hit you with this. If you keep introducing it to people long enough, they're gonna start believing it. So now, going back to whatever, once again, we don't feel as though we are successful until we get the approval of the white man.
Now I understand. Listen, now I understand where you're coming from. See, a lot of people that might watch this, they might think you mean that in a literal sense, but you don't. We're not looking for a white man to say you got my approval. We talk about the way we treated.
No. Take that. No. We are. Well, you know me. I'm not. I mean, we all are. We are.
So you saying specifically verbalize?
Well, we're still, regardless if it's verbal, whether it's financial, we are.
Well, that's what I said. That's what I said.
People can sit here and say whatever they want, unless we mentally feel as though we don't feel as though we are successful until we get the approval of the white man's system. Now people can say what the hell they want. They know I ain't even like with these cats dating these white girls. Like I said earlier, you know what I mean? These athletes and these people date these white girls because they want the approval of that system. And like I said, so once they get to a certain point, they think they made it. They kick the black girl to the curb because they feel as though they have made it. They made it. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Now,
Then
now, now, now,
when they go to
I see
court,
that a lot. Yeah.
then but then when they go to court, all of a sudden the system is against the black man. No, the system ain't against you, because when you marry her and when she divorced you, the system played his whole hand, played your whole hand. Now they got everything you own.
Mm.
I mean, it is
Now,
what it is.
right. Now, there's blacks out there that seek the approval of the white man or the white woman.
In some way,
But
shape, or form, we all do. In
right,
some way, shape, or form, we all do. And people can
right.
say that they don't, but that's bullshit. In some way, shape, or form, we
Okay.
all
Now,
do.
okay, I
Because
was going to
that's
say, you're absolutely right, because I was just about to say that don't apply to me. But when you say in some way, shape, or form, okay, sure. It's like I was talking about the decorations and all. I said when I was talking about the school, and I said it's a time and place for everything, and then you got to conduct yourself in the right manner. Sure. So in some way, shape, or form, yes. That approval, yes, that's a fact. That's a fact. If you want to be successful, if you want to make it, if you want to be perceived a certain way, then you have to,
But
right?
well, I ain't gonna say you have to. I'm not gonna say you have to, and it might be in your best interest too. But
Yeah.
it's based on how you want to become, whatever. But like, if you got to do the stuff to be what Puffy doing to people or other entertainers doing to people, if you want to do the stuff with what's the guy name that hung himself that was selling all the young girls with to Trump and Biden, not Biden, to all them other guys. If you want to do all that stuff to be successful, that's okay. But it's just a whole bunch of different scenarios. So we all, in some way, shape, or form, try to get that man's approval so we can move forward, whether it's
Right.
good or whether it's bad. But we always have to keep in the back of our mind, what do we do to get to where we're at?
Right.
Because I know cats, what I mean? I mean, it's like, I'm not gonna say I know cats, but I'll be hearing people talking like, if one rapper said, he said, listen, why you think these guys drink a lot and they smoke a lot? Because they trying
Mm.
to bury what they had to go through, knowingly or unknowingly, to get in the position they're in today.
Right.
And that, you see what I'm saying? So I gotta get ready to go. What we got going on?
What you
Got
mean?
one more? I gotta get ready to sign off. I got, but we got one more.
Oh, another question. Okay, sure. I was gonna say if we go back to slavery, right? Our history tells us that the white woman was unattainable and off limits to black men. Do you think that a lot of black men choose white women because they see it as an act of defiance or a way to rub it in the faces of other whites?
No, I mean, what I mean, it's like I just think people do what they do, and I'll say this again: some do it for acceptance, some do it just because it's something for them to do, and some do it because they in love with them.
Yeah,
So to be defiant, I mean, some probably do. Some probably say, "Man, f that chick. I was just doing it because she was white." But she probably saying
yeah.
the same thing about him when she get that check at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know you was gonna go that with that, but like I know the black man for white women, not just white women, but any ethnic background, like it's a fetish, right? Like I often tell people that black men are the cream of the crop, right? Like all races. You can be purple, green. It doesn't matter. Everybody wants a black man, and that's a fact. That's a fact. Out of
Well,
curiosity, whatever. We're
but
definitely on
you
everybody's bucket list.
but you just
Right.
mentioned earlier about how many how black men date white women. It was a higher number or something, right?
Yeah.
So are you sure that all women want white men, or is there a lot of black men want white women?
See, you try to mind fuck me, but this is the thing. I think it's both ways. But listen, white women would like black men. They want a black man. They might not want a relationship with a black man, but they from the rumors and all that stuff, it piques their curiosity.
But you said
I mean,
rumors. But you said room. Listen, and I'm and I'm, I'm
you know
look,
I'm getting that.
and I like
Come on.
see, but see, listen,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna put it to you like this. and I'm gonna end on this note. Women are let me back up. So we talking about white women. White women are just as smart as black women. Women, all women think alike, whether
Right.
it's black, white, Spanish.
Right.
Women knows what buttons to push when it comes to dealing with a man, period. So when these black men get involved with these white women for status, at the end of the day, that black girl gonna go to them and say, "I tried to tell you." Can I go back?
That's interesting.
That's very interesting. Because he's gonna go to her and start. Because he's gonna go to her and cry.
Right. Right. I got you.
So,
But yeah, you say you got stuff to do, man.
yeah, I got
we
it.
definitely got to.
I've been on here for almost 2 hours. I got to get cleaned up. I got to. But I appreciate you having me on, brother. I think we had a great conversation.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Like I said, many more, man. Because I have a lot of topics / debates that I want to go over with, specifically with you. So I have those prepared in the archive. So we will, like I said, we'll stay in touch. It's just hard, like we said before I went live. It's just with my new job. It's hard to plan things, right? Before it was a little bit easier. When I was a kitchen manager, I had a set schedule. My schedule did not change, so it was easier that way. And then I was out of work for a little over 2 months. That was super easy. I was doing show after show after show, and now I'm working where it's unpredictable. It's just hard to plan that way, but that's neither here nor there.
I mean, I like your show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't, it's like you give me, it's like I get a chance to like really have a great conversation with people because, like I said, I study shit. So when people try to come at me, I like, listen, I can only speak on what I know. I can only speak on what I've been through, and I can only speak on, my research. But if somebody get in here and if it's something that I don't know what they're talking about, I'm not going to sit here and argue with that person that they wrong because I don't know.
Right. So I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna close out. So I don't know how it's gonna go, but for some reason, my older brother, he said he fucked with you, and he said he definitely want to get on here one day and have a back and forth with you. So I definitely try to set that up. I don't know how that's gonna go though, but it's gonna. I don't know how that's gonna go, but
your older brother, he mess with white girls too.
He's married to one, yes.
Okay,
but he's faith. He got his podcast. And he's faith based, and like I said, I don't know how that's going to go. Matter of fact, he got a show going on right now.
Podcast is faith based.
Huh?
He said it's faith based.
Yeah, his is.
Okay, I mean we can have that conversation now. I don't. It's like I mean I grew up in the church, but I can't sit there with somebody and quote scriptures. But I can sit there with somebody and have a conversation now based on because I just posted up with Get the Black Mind Right meme. If you go to my page, you'll read it. So my whole thing is when I said this, I said when I have a conversation with people, my conversation is going to be about what I believe and how I live. And I'm not going to sit here. And if you told me you believed in having 6 wives and this and that, I'm not going to argue with you. Now I'm going to ask you how you did it so we can have that conversation. But I'm not going to rebuke you and tell you you're going to hell. I'm just saying I'm just going to say you're making a lot of damn money, or they are.
Yeah. But
you tell me, we this is what I do.
Yeah, I got you. But listen, all right, man. So that's going to conclude. Huh?
I'm from Jersey.
Are you originally from Jersey?
I'm originally from South Jersey.
Oh, that's what's tough. So yeah, because we're from North Jersey.
I know
Newark. So
I know. Listen. I ran from the George Washington Bridge down to the Delaware Moore Bridge. I used to run all that.
You said you used to run it.
I used to run it. If you know what running means.
Well, you act like you saying it like you OG Bobby Johnson or something.
I'm not Bobby Johnson, but I'm Brother Syid.
Yeah, I hear that, man. I hear that shit.
Newark, Seton Hall, Palisades Park. I should run through all that.
I used to run through. I thought you said you used to run it. I was like, boy.
No. I don't run. Listen. I don't run nothing. I'm just part of the movement. Whether it was a good movement or the movement now. I mean, I just did what I did.
Got you. But all right, man, that's going to conclude today's episode. We hope everybody enjoyed it. Whether you watched the live or you're going to catch the replay, make sure you share, comment, subscribe. Keep the love and keep the movement going, man. I got a lot of things in the works. So stay tuned for that. I don't want to say what it is because a lot of times people say what they have planned and it takes some months or it may take years and then people will be waiting. So I ain't going to do all that. You just got to stay tuned and keep following, keep supporting. Much love. All right.
I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you.
This Friday, Greensboro, the International Civil Rights Museum, February 1, downtown Greensboro. Come see my film, Ella Baker, the great organizer. And then after that, I got a big-ass party at the Greensboro Cultural Center. Come on down, hang out with your boy, Brother Syid. You know what I close with. Get the black mind right. Peace.